One block that happens for people who are opening up their intuition, not for everybody, but for some people. And if this is you, this would be a good video to listen to. But one block that blocks people from opening up their intuitive flow, getting that intuition to flow through the channel, is the concept that everyone's intuition works the same way. And this is very common. We have some really great role models out there that are showing the world the possibilities, what everyone's capable of. And that in itself is an absolutely spectacular, beautiful thing. But when we get caught up in thinking, okay, that's how it should look for me, that's how they use their intuition, so I should use it the exact same way, that's where we get stuck. And I don't mean they're doing readings, so I should do readings. You might be called to do readings, or you might be called to do group sessions, or you might be called to do healing work, or you might be called to work with Mother Earth. There's a lot of things that you could be called for. What I mean is more so in the category of, if this person sees images in a particular way, that might not be the same case for you. So when you have someone teaching you how to open up your intuition, and they teach you a very strict, regimented way, you know, you have to look right here, it's going to show up right there, it's going to look like this, it's going to come in like this, you might want to take a step back from that, only because there's so many different variations of intuition. Let me give you some examples. Examples are always helpful. I have been teaching students since 2007, 2008, and taught thousands of students. And I'll just give you a couple different examples of clairvoyance, of people that see, students that have come across my path. And I'll say this first. When a student figures out how their unique intuition works, it just opens up. It's so spectacular. I absolutely love it. And because it's like finding the key for your door. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's exactly like this. Here's a couple examples. I had one gentleman years back. He would get an image, but then the image would just stay there and nothing else would happen. And he'd look at it and he'd look at it and he'd look at it. And finally, through a couple different, tries and, oh, try this, try that, try this, try that, he discovered that an image would come up for him intuitively. And he would imagine himself diving in the middle of that image. And when he did, another one would pop up. And then he would dive into that one, another one pop up, dive into that one, another one pop up. So that's how he gets intuitive information. That's how he navigates his intuitive experience. And another student, one of the funnest students I've ever had. She's so cool. And she's very whimsical. And I'll talk a little bit in this also about how personality comes into play. For her, it wasn't until she realized that she needed to create a diorama. Do you remember dioramas that we built when we were in like 6th grade? And, little people, little houses and stuff like that. What she does is she sort of sets the stage for her intuition in imagining, not, intuitively creating, but intuitively seeing, but imagining, using her imagination to set up a diorama, a little box, and it's empty, and then allowing intuition to fill that box in. Once we figured that out, you can tell it took us a little bit to go, well, what's happening here? What's happening here? You have to explore. But once we found that out, it was gold, because she could just set the diorama up, and it was like her way of saying to her intuition, I'm ready. And she was so accurate, so accurate. I remember her actually reading for me during one of the classes, and she described a wedding to a T. I mean, to the number of bridesmaids and groomsmen and attendees and everything else. And I was like stunned. And that's how it works for her. For me, when I see out here about 3 or 4 feet away, and everything else blurs. And it's more like a video for me than it is images. I know other people that are straight dictionary readers. Every single thing that comes through is a symbol that means something else. I know that sounds a little confusing, and it sounds like it would be a bit of a hassle, but it's not. A dictionary reader is great because every time they see a bluebird, it means this. Every time they see a birthday cake, it means birthday, probably, I'm sure. But every time they see something, it means something else. And that's their language. Everyone has their own intuitive language. And when you embrace that, and when you say, how simple is this? When you say, I want to discover how it uniquely works for me. What are my unique intuitive strengths? When you sit down and do that, it just opens up the door for you to be able to discover it. And when you stay open, stay open, stay open. I keep saying this so much to everybody, but stay open. Even if you've been doing, intuitive sessions or readings or professional, or even not as a professional, you've been using your intuition for many, many years of your life, you still have to stay open, because your intuitive strengths are going to morph and change through your life. Because guess what? So are you. Now, here's where I get to personality and, kind of how you are wired as a person. As your life unfolds, you change. As you change, how the intuitive information flows through you might change as well. When I first opened up, it was visual and it was images only. And so felt a little bit like, charades. Okay, 2 words, first word. And so there was a lot of figuring out I had to do in the beginning, but eventually when I relaxed into it, the images started to relax and then turned more into like moving pictures, videos. And that's when I was able to really, really anchor in and feel like I was having a one-on-one, conversation with someone on the other side. And it felt much more natural, but I also felt more natural in the shoes of being a medium. So the more comfortable I got with the concept of being a medium, the more the intuition started to flow into these more like visions instead of images. Then fast forward, I don't know how many years, but a number of years after I had opened up, I'm seeing these visions and I'm seeing everything unfold, and I'm describing what I'm seeing to clients and to people that I'm reading. Then a few years later, I started to hear. And I remember thinking, is that me? And I was right back in the beginning again. Did I make that up or didn't I make that up? I thought I heard something, but I wasn't sure if I heard it. And so I had to reevaluate. I had to stay open, stay open, stay open, stay open, because we can rely on our strengths for a long time and never know what else is out there and available to us, because we just stick with our one strength for so long. And we're so tightly to it. So when I started to be able to hear, it's interesting. It correlated with a time in my life that I started to really evaluate my relationships. Interesting, eh? So as you shift and change, and I stepped into this period of growth of knowing my worth and knowing my value. And as a result of that, having to really evaluate who's in my life and how does this, work, and is there healing opportunities in the areas that are not great. And I was really paying attention to, how myself and others interacted and how my life flowed. And as a result of it, I was using my words more. I was speaking more about what was also important to me as well. And in listening more to what was important to them, there was a lot more deeper communication happening in my relationships, in my human life. And it's not a coincidence that happened right around the same time that intuitively I started to be able to hear in addition to seeing. But I had to stay open. Stay open, stay open, stay open. So it doesn't matter if it's brand new to you, or if you've never used your intuition before, if you've been using it for a year, if you've been using it for 10 years, stay open, willingly give yourself a space of just half an hour of, I am totally open. We want to do GCP. You definitely want to do ground, clear, protect, and do a, sort of a grounding, centering, clearing, and protection exercise, because you don't want to just open up intuitively to everything and everything around you. But when I say stay open to being able to receive intuitive messages in a new way or an additional way or a little bit different than it was before. That's going to keep your intuitive channel open, strong, and flowing with much more accuracy. The personality piece is always fascinating to me as well. When you find someone who, and I've been able to explore this, I'll just say, I've been able to explore this because of how many students have gone through the SAGE method. And I've witnessed this. People who are real, quick to make decisions. They have to do that. And we got to do it now. We don't take time to make decisions. Those types of people get their information right out of the gate. And it's the information that they get first that's always the most accurate. If they linger too long in one intuitive message, the accuracy will start to lower. Interestingly enough, too, the people on the other side of this who take longer time to make decisions and carefully think through things before they do them, it sounds more balanced, but for people like that, as they experience their intuition, it's not necessarily going to be the first things that come in that are the most accurate. It's going to be when they've been in that intuitive topic for a little while that more and more and more things are going to show up for them. So personality speaks to this as well. What is your personality like? You know, how are you comfortable holding yourself? How are you comfortable interacting with other people? This is going to, speak wonders to how your intuition is going to work in your unique system, because you're different than anyone else. And that's a beautiful thing, beautiful thing. I know intuitives that their accuracy doubles when they have access to water. If they are taking a bath or their hand is in a bowl of water, their accuracy will increase. There's something about being connected to that element that is so important to them. Oh, by the way, Bo, my favorite pastime is surfing. So you're going to start to see some things align like that as you open up your intuition. And when you have a moment where you say, oh, well, that makes sense as to why I'm more intuitive at night because I'm a night owl, or it makes sense to why, accurate information comes through for me when I ask questions because I'm a journalist. You know what I mean? So how you're wired also plays a role in intuition. So now that I've said all this, can you get on board with me on the topic that every single person's intuition is different and unique? And if you try to hold yourself in an intuitive state exactly the same way someone else does, or expect to get intuitive information exactly the same way someone else does, it's going to block you because you're looking over here and your intuition's over here. Okay, so then you're watching this video and you say, well, what do I do? How do you find that out? Yeah. I just want to say it again, stay open. But it's more than staying open. It's allowing yourself to let go of all comparisons of other people to yourself. Absolutely no more comparing yourself to anyone else out there. When you see an amazing intuitive do an amazing job on television or on stage, or maybe a reader that you know, and you think, wow, they're so good at what they do, I'm going to try to do it that. I wonder if I could be, how could I be more like, nope. We remove all comparisons. We release all measurement. Well, they can do this. If I could do this, then I would be good at being, an intuitive. Nope, that doesn't exist. It's one of those things where you have to first find trust and faith in yourself, and then you will relax into it, and then the experiences will start to happen. So if you can release comparison, release measurement, release judgment around good or bad. There's no good or bad. There's intuition used properly and intuition not used properly, right? So good intuition, or good, is when somebody's using their intuition organically to them. Bad is when they're trying to be intuitive like somebody else does. Then after staying open, after dropping all comparisons, dropping all judgment, dropping all measurement, okay? When you see someone, I'm going to segue off of that one last little thing here before I go to the next point. When you see someone have a really incredible intuitive moment and you go, wow, that was quite the intuitive hit, or I can't believe they saw that. That's really, really great. What I want you to say is, I want you to say to yourself this: they are using their intuition uniquely to them and it's working so well. I want you to identify that in other people too. That's how they use their intuition. That's fascinating. I'm exploring how I use my intuition. Stay open, stay open, stay open. Now, the next part of this is we have 5 senses in addition to the sixth sense. So it's the sixth sense. The sixth sense uses the other five senses to deliver messages. If we're stuck on how this person uses one particular, okay, they say that they see this. And so you narrow down to that one sense, you're going to limit. You've already eliminated the other four. And maybe your ability to hear is off the charts, or maybe your ability to taste and smell and feel physical sensations, one of those can be off the charts and you wouldn't know it. This is another reason why we don't align trying to do it like somebody else does it. Explore with those five senses. That would be my other tip. Stay open and remind yourself, my intuition can come through any of these senses. And perhaps in the morning, say to yourself, hey, five senses, I invite you and I welcome you to utilize intuition in the way that you want to utilize it. I am open to however it comes through. When it does come through, make note of it, write it down in a journal if you can, and start to pay attention to patterns. Here's the thing I want to leave you with the most on this. Your intuition is strong. It's so strong. You have absolute capability of accessing very accurate intuitive information for guidance for yourself, for guidance perhaps for others, but mostly for guidance for yourself. You can ask the questions, get some answers. Best thing to do, that's what I always say, is to ask this one question. What is it you want me to know? And then stay open to all five of your senses, relaying that information. Let go of judgment on yourself or on how it comes through. Write it down. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. It would be as if I told you that there is a box of 1,000 puzzle pieces over there. And when you find the one puzzle piece that fits you perfectly, all of your intuition will open up. And that is pretty much how it works. How do you find that puzzle piece? You have fun. You have fun with it. You explore, you stay open to all five of your senses working with you. You carve out time to sit down, to be in an intuitive state, and you allow and you stay open. No judgment, no comparison. You're unique and you're amazing. Remember that.